Khabib Abdulmanapovich Nurmagomedov, born the 20th of September 1988, is a Russian former professional mixed martial artist who competed in the lightweight division of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. He was the longest reigning UFC lightweight champion ever, having held the title from April 2018 to March 2021. With 29 wins and no losses, he retired with an undefeated record. Nurmagomedov is widely considered to be among the greatest mixed martial artists of all time and was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame on June 30, 2022. A two-time combat Sambo world champion, Nurmagomedov has a background in the disciplines of Sambo, Judo, and wrestling. Nurmagomedov was ranked #1 in the UFC men's pound-for-pound rankings at the time of his retirement, until being removed following his title vacation in March 2021. Fight Matrix ranks him as the #1 lightweight of all time. Coming from the Republic of Dagestan in Russia, Nurmagomedov is the first Muslim to win a UFC title. He is the most followed Russian on Instagram, with more than 34 million followers as of December 2022. He is also a mixed martial arts (MMA) promoter, known for promoting the Eagle Fighting Championship (EFC). After retirement, he transitioned to being a coach and cornerman before retiring from the sport completely in January 2023. Early career Nurmagomedov made his professional MMA debut in September 2008 and compiled 4 wins in under a month. On the 11th of October, he became the inaugural Atrium Cup tournament champion, having defeated his 3 opponents at the Moscow event. Over the next 3 years, he went undefeated, finishing 11 out of 12 opponents. These included a first-round armbar finish of future Bellator title challenger Shahbulat Shamhalayev, which marked his M1 global debut. In 2011, he competed in 7 fights for the Pro FC promotion, all of which he won by TKO or submission. A 16-0 record in the regional circuits of Russia and Ukraine generated interest from the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, in signing Nurmagomedov. Later, Nurmagomedov's father revealed in an interview that due to a contract dispute with Pro FC, they had 11 court cases contesting the legitimacy of Nurmagomedov's UFC contract. After losing 6 and winning 5 cases, they reached an agreement, and Khabib was able to continue his career. Ultimate Fighting Championship. Early UFC fights and championship pursuits. In late 2011, Nurmagomedov signed a 6-fight deal to compete in the UFC's lightweight division. In his UFC debut, on the 20th of January 2012 at UFC on FX1, Nurmagomedov defeated Kamal Shaloris via submission in the 3rd round. Nurmagomedov next defeated Gleison Tibau on the 7th of July 2012 at UFC 148 via unanimous decision, with all 3 judges scoring the fight 30-27. Nurmagomedov's next fight was against Thiago Tavares on the 19th of January 2013 at UFC on FX7. He won via KO in the 1st round. After the fight, Tavares tested positive for drostanolone, an anabolic steroid, and received a 9-month suspension. Nurmagomedov defeated Abel Trujillo on the 25th of May 2013 at UFC 160 via unanimous decision, with all 3 judges scoring the fight 30-27. At the weigh-ins, Nurmagomedov came in over the permitted limit, weighing in at 158.5 pounds. He was given 2 hours to cut to the lightweight maximum of 156 pounds, but elected instead to surrender a percentage of his fight purse to Trujillo, and the bout was contested at a catchweight. In the course of the fight, Nurmagomedov set a new UFC record for the most takedowns in a single fight, with 21 successful takedowns out of 28 attempts. In his 5th UFC fight, on the 21st of September 2013 at UFC 165, Nurmagomedov faced Pat Healy. He dominated the fight and won via unanimous decision, with all 3 judges scoring the fight 30-27. Attending his first post-event press conference, UFC President Dana White praised the relative newcomer, stating, "That slam when he just scoops him up and slams him Matt Hughes style. That reminded me of the old Matt Hughes where he would run a guy across the octagon and slam him. The kid is exciting. We're probably going to do big things with this kid." In December, Nurmagomedov challenged Gilbert Melendez on social media, with the two then expected to face off at UFC 170 on the 22nd of February 2014. However, the bout was canceled for undisclosed reasons, and Melendez was replaced by Nate Diaz. However, the matchup was canceled as Diaz turned the bout down. Nurmagomedov expressed his disappointment, appearing on the MMA Hour, If they say that they're willing to fight the best, they should fight the best. If they want, I'll take them both at once in the cage. Nurmagomedov next faced former UFC lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos on the 19th of April 2014 at UFC on Fox 11. He dominated the fight and won via unanimous decision, with all three judges scoring the fight 30-27. Nurmagomedov was briefly linked to a bout with Donald Cerrone on the 27th of September 2014 at UFC 178. However, the pairing was quickly scrapped after it was revealed that Nurmagomedov had suffered a knee injury. He was later expected to face Cerrone on the 23rd of May 2015 at UFC 187. However, Nurmagomedov pulled out of the bout on the 30th of April due to a recurring knee injury and was replaced by John Makdessi. Nurmagomedov was expected to face Tony Ferguson on the 11th of December 2015 at the Ultimate Fighter 22 finale. However, Nurmagomedov pulled out of the fight in late October, citing another injury, and was replaced by Edson Barboza. The bout with Ferguson was rescheduled for the 16th of April 2016 at UFC on Fox 19. However, on the 5th of April, Ferguson pulled out of the bout due to a lung issue. Ferguson was replaced by promotional newcomer Daryl Horcher at a catchweight of 160 pounds. Nurmagomedov won the one-sided fight by TKO in the second round. In September, Nurmagomedov signed 2 contracts for a title shot against the reigning UFC lightweight champion, Eddie Alvarez, on either the UFC 205 or the UFC 206 fight card, with Dana White confirming the bout for UFC 205. However, on the 26th of September, the UFC announced that Alvarez would instead be defending the title against Conor McGregor. Nurmagomedov voiced his displeasure on social media, calling Alvarez a bullshit champ for refusing the fight and opting for a bout with McGregor instead, accusing the UFC of being a freak show. In lieu of a title shot, Nurmagomedov next faced Michael Johnson on the 12th of November 2016 at UFC 205. Nurmagomedov dominated the fight and was heard telling Dana White to give him a title shot as he mauled Johnson, winning via submission in the third round. The bout with Ferguson was scheduled for a third time at UFC 209 on the 4th of March 2017 for the interim lightweight championship. Nurmagomedov, however, fell ill because of a botched weight cut, and the bout was cancelled as a result. Nurmagomedov faced Edson Barboza on the 30th of December 2017 at UFC 219. Nurmagomedov dominated all 3 rounds, taking Barboza down repeatedly and dominating the fight with ground and pound. He won the fight by unanimous decision, with scores of 30-25, 30-25, and 30-24. This win also earned him his first performance of the night bonus. UFC lightweight champion Nurmagomedov versus Iaquinta bout with Ferguson had been scheduled for the 4th time and was expected to take place on the 7th of April 2018 at UFC 223. However, on the 1st of April 2018, it was reported that Ferguson had injured his knee and was to be replaced by Max Holloway. On the 6th of April, Holloway was pulled from the fight after the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, declared him unfit to compete due to extreme weight cutting and replaced by Al Iaquinta. Iaquinta's inclusion in the fight was controversial. The UFC's first choice to replace Holloway, Anthony Pettis, weighed in 0.2 pounds over the championship limit of 155 pounds and did not choose to reweigh. And its second choice, Paul Felder, was rejected by NYSAC because he was not in the UFC's rankings at the time of the fight. Only Nurmagomedov was eligible to win the championship, as Iaquinta also weighed in 0.2 pounds over the championship weight limit. Nurmagomedov dominated the fight and won via unanimous decision, with scores of 50-44, 50-43, and 50-43, and became the UFC lightweight champion, Nurmagomedov versus McGregor. On Friday, the 3rd of August 2018, the UFC announced that Nurmagomedov would make his first defense of his lightweight title against Conor McGregor at UFC 229 on October 6th in Las Vegas. In the fight, Nurmagomedov won the first 2 rounds, but lost the 3rd round to McGregor. It was the first time Nurmagomedov lost a round in his UFC career. He managed to defeat McGregor in the 4th round via submission. After the contest, Nurmagomedov scaled the octagon and tried to attack McGregor's teammate Dylan Dennis, which resulted in a brawl between the two teams. After the bout against the Irishman, Khabib improved his record to 27-0, which was then the longest win streak in UFC history. The event drew 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, the most ever for an MMA event. Nurmagomedov versus Poirier. In June 2019, Nurmagomedov signed a new multi-fight contract with the UFC. In the first fight of his new deal, Nurmagomedov made the second defense of his title against interim lightweight champion Dustin Poirier on the 7th of September 2019 in the main event at UFC 242. He won the fight via a rear-naked choke submission in the third round. The win unified both titles and earned Nurmagomedov his second Performance of the Night bonus award. He and Poirier swapped shirts after the fight as a show of respect. In his post-fight interview, Nurmagomedov said that he would be selling the shirt Poirier gave him and donating the proceeds to Poirier's charity. The shirt sold for $100,000, and the donation was matched by UFC President Dana White. Retirement and vacation of the UFC Lightweight Championship, despite attempted negotiations to bring him back for one more fight. UFC President Dana White announced on the 19th of March 2021 that he had accepted Nurmagomedov's decision to retire, and that the UFC Lightweight Championship had been officially vacated. On July 1, 2022, Nurmagomedov was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame on the International Fight Week in Las Vegas. MMA promoter. Following his retirement, Nurmagomedov purchased the Guerrilla Fighting Championship, GFC, a Russian-based MMA promotion, for $1 million, going on to rename it as the Eagle Fighting Championship, EFC. MMA coach and cornerman. After retiring in October 2020, Nurmagomedov became an active coach with American Kickboxing Academy head coach Javier Mendez. He coached and cornered current UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev, Zubaira Tukhugov, UFC, Tagir Ulanbekov, UFC, Islam Mammadov, Bellator, Gadzi Rabadanov, Bellator, Saigid Izagakmaev, one championship, Belal Muhammad, UFC, and his cousins Abubakar Nurmagomedov, UFC, Umar Nurmagomedov, UFC, and Usman Nurmagomedov, Bellator. Nurmagomedov was expected to corner Islam Makhachev in a historic title defense against UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 284, but completely retired from MMA in January 2023, including coaching and cornering fighters, to focus on his family. Awards. In October 2018, Nurmagomedov was made an honorary citizen of Grozny by the mayor of Grozny, Ibrahim Zakariev, after his victory against McGregor at UFC 229. He was also presented with a Mercedes car by Chechnya's head Ramzan Kadyrov, funded from the Akhmad Kadyrov Foundation, and his father Abdulmanap was awarded the title of Honored Worker of Physical Culture of the Chechen Republic by Kadyrov. On the 5th of December 2019, head of the Republic of Dagestan, Vladimir Vasilyev awarded Nurmagomedov and his father, Abdulmanap, the Order for Services to the Republic of Dagestan for their significant contributions to sports in Dagestan. This was a complete story about one of the best UFC fighters. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for UFC fighter videos in the coming weeks.